O Brahma, O the limitless, O the boundless. O Brahma, O the limitless. O Brahma, O the limitless, O the boundless. O the omniscient, O the omnipotent. O the omniscient, O the omnipotent, O the omnipresent. Give us the strength to transcend our karma, we the truth seeker Brahman. O Brahman, give us the strength to transcend our karma. Give us the strength to transcend our fear. Give us the strength to transcend our temptations. Give us the strength. Give us the strength to transcend our desires and addiction. When you go in a super silent corner, when you go in a super silent, when you go in a super silent corner to perform meditation, maybe ideally in the beginning of the day, when you have not gathered a lot of data through your outbound five senses, that's the ideal time. When everything in creation is silent, when everything in creation is quiet, after a certain period of time, when you have instilled, after a certain period of time, when you have instilled yourself in silence, silence, you know how to be silent, you know how to be silent like this. Shh, shh. This is super, this is super silent for you. So when you sit attentive in a super silent corner and when you have instilled yourself in the silence, you say, Om, don't forget to perform. Don't forget to perform the mantra. Don't forget to perform the mantra of Om to gain thy strength and to gain the energy, the prana, the life energy from sacred and Brahman. And when you say it, make sure every cell in your body is saying that like you mean it. You say so many things that you don't mean, and after that you regret. It's all mine. But this time when you are saying Om, this is this certain vibration, this certain vibration which connects each one of us is Om. Om is the sound. The mantra Om is the sound of cosmos. The mantra Om is the sound, is the voice of eternity. Om. There is nothing in the spirituality which would give you more. There is nothing in the spirituality which would give you more energy and strength but the chant, but the mantra, if you chant Om and if you chant as you mean it. You see, not unlike when you tell your lover, unlike when you tell your spouse, partner, husband or wife, I love you. That when you say I love you, it has become so casual that 90% or majority of times seems like is just another routine. It seems like it's just another routine and we don't really mean it, you see. And the spouse who is also preoccupied with the psychological drama says, I love you too. or love you too, or something along those lines. Very casual. You don't mean that, but when you say the mantra of Om during meditation, you make sure you mean it, and then you would see the tremendous results, the energy, and then you would see the tremendous results and the energy that you gain to fight the demons, the culprits, and the devil, you see. Are you practicing to transcend your mind, and are you practicing to transcend your physicality? You see, your mind always prompts you to do something what you are not doing right now. Your mind always prompts you to think and have a perception or a mind frame that what you are doing right now is not enough. You are performing a task and you are not even done yet, while mind already planning what is going to be the next. And then you do the same with the next one, then it is already planning what is going to be the next. If we keep following this culprit mind, this parasite in most cases, but not all, you see, I am very impeccable with my words when I speak with them. Not all times, but in most cases, or for the most part, it is a parasite. It is wearing you out. It is prompting your body to be always in motion. It is prompting your focus to be always on the mind, but we are not going to let the mind win because it will wear us out. If you understand, it becomes so powerful if you keep bringing your focus over and over and over on something like that, that it creates doubts and it creates a virtual reality which has no existential significance. That's the word I'm looking for in English. Imagine your mind is a fertile ground, if you understand. When you want to plant a tree, what do? You look for, the first job is to look for the, not even for look for the seed, but the first job is to look for the ground, because this is where you are going to plant the seed. Imagine your mind is just like that fertile ground. Human mind, the mind of all humanity, is very fertile for any type of concepts and any type of ideas. It's just like a sponge that it sucks everything which is flying around. So understand, and most of the time humans are not treating themselves with love and respect and peace. That's why the thoughts are being generated in the mind of all humanity most of the times are nasty. And when you perceive something, or when you, they are interconnected. Remember we talked about that other day, that they are interconnected. when you, they are interconnected, but you gotta start from somewhere. When the intention is created, a vibration is produced. Then when the vibration is produced, you would attract only that kind of thought. And I told you how to clear or cleanse your intention, didn't I? So the retreat over there is about over there, not here, basically. Here I'm telling you in this moment in time that what mind is. Imagine your mind is the fertile ground, and then seed is the thought that you are attracting based on the vibration you are. And then after you plant the seed on the fertile ground, in order to get the plant or the tree, what you do, you care for it. You see, you look at it as with love. You give it water, the right climate, um, the right type of climate factors, the right type of climate factors basically also. It needs sun, it needs air, it needs water, it needs a right type of soil, All this is care, isn't it? That you are focusing and trying to nurture this this phenomena in creation. You see, this is all focus. So mind, imagine your mind is the fertile ground. I hope you were with me and you didn't lose the track. Then you drop the seed, is the thought. And then when you nurture the seed, there is your focus. Now you understand, without nurturing the seed, plant wouldn't grow, it would die, the seed would die under the soil. Just like that, without your focus, 90% of the repetitive thoughts would not survive in your awareness. Thought does not have the existence of its own. Remember, we talked about that mind is thought, thought is mind, or mind is the combination of thoughts. However, you want to look at it, you are looking at the same thing. Anyway, these are just the words that you can rearrange. What I am telling you right now is very important. Your thought cannot survive without your focus. Your thought is very compelling and it can compel you, you see, but doesn't necessarily, or it, the more you bring your awareness on the thought, the more it would grow the branches. It would just keep creating and creating, it would not stop. And then fear would be generated, then fear would turn into paranoia, paranoia into turn into psychosis. This is how it goes, only when you subscribe too much significance in mind. In southern India, Hyderabad is a very prominent city in southern India. Hyderabad is a very prominent city in southern India. And in southern India, the percentage, the probability of literacy is also very high. Most of the people over there, um, literacy rate is high, intelligent, smart, learned people and stuff. There was a lady, and she actually was genius. She accomplished outstanding academics like PhD and stuff, which is fine. You can do whatever you want, but she wouldn't stop even when she was by herself. You have to keep the balance. You understand this? Why I am giving you this message right now. You have to keep the balance. If you cannot keep the balance, then you would become a total slave to the mind, and we do not want that for you. If you understand what I'm saying, do not become the slave of the mind. Keep the balance. If you are achieving academics, use the mind. But when you are not in the process of learning, you can turn it off. She wouldn't do that. She would just always be occupied by the mind and the the thoughts, and of course the level of intellect was extremely high, the level of intelligence was extremely high. And then when you do that, your mind does not know what thought is favorable and what thought is not favorable. I'll give you an example how it works. Basically, your mind does not know the difference. You understand? Your mind does not know the difference. That what thought is making you happy, what thought is making you horny, what thought is making you sad. Your mind cannot distinguish among, because as far as mind knows, mind is does not have no recognition or respect in the distinction of these thoughts. You see, it does not know the difference. That's why it is extremely important to tame the mind, the nature of the mind. That's why it is so significant that just about in every retreat, when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about the process of enlightenment, the transparency of things, or transcendence, when we use these type of complicated English terms, with the exception of spirituality, which has been very rapid throughout the globe, which is fine. Anyway, when we use all these English terms, we always are telling you to do not subscribe a lot of significance and trust in the mind, because mind is abstract a reality. An abstract reality would go side by side with the reality, you see, until unless you do something about it. And it is very possible to do something about it. I do it all the time. However, it's a process. There is no achievement here. Achievement would only be when you become so powerful that you have taken 100% charge on it. I myself personally is not even there yet, and that is what we understand as enlightenment too. When you see truth and you see experience and you see reality in every possible way that it's been created by the sacred or divine, not just one way that you have been conditioned to see. Are you following me? So what happens basically, that's why it is so significant that we mention mind all the time. We tell you to train yourself to turn your mind into your slave and never be oblivious by its presence. Never be oblivious. Become alert enough through your dedication towards Mahakriya meditation and Mahakriya yoga. You see, yoga, unity, communion with sacred. You see, so become alert enough to see that. That's why I give you the truth and wisdom, in which I tell you I give you the tools and I tell you the ways to tame it. That woman in Hyderabad, India, she was a genius. She got extremely high intellect and she got tons of academics, excuse me. The next thing we know that she jumped from the seventh floor of the apartment. It was a posh area, and she, of course, she was rich because of she the work, and she acquired academics and the qualifications so high. So she was living in a lavish apartment and the building, and she jumped from the seventh floor one day out of nowhere. You know that, and in other words, she interrupted the experience. In easy words, she committed suicide. And then she left a letter behind that please do not hold. And then and then she left a letter behind that please do not hold anyone accountable or responsible for my action, only my mind. The letter stated, please do not hold anyone accountable or responsible for my action, but just my mind. You see, after a certain period of time, you wouldn't have no control. If you do not learn to take charge, you would not have no control. It kills the person in the end only if you subscribe too much significance to it. And specifically invest the subscription. That's why we, the yogis, the meditators, the sannyasis, the wise people travel to West, you see, and because clarity is very significant in your perception and clarity. Now there is a lot of work being done in West, and we are here also to do the work and bring clarity in your mind. Nothing against the subscription towards the mind, but again, keep the balance. You see, if you lose the balance, it would drive you crazy. It would drive you nuts. And in most cases of humans, it's a short drive. Because again, subscription towards mind. What was I mention every now and then, this guy who was a self-claimed philosopher, Descartes. He didn't do good job. Frenchman, you see, in Western Europe. France is in Western Europe. Frenchman, Descartes, that I think so I exist. And he called himself philosopher, you see, because he knew nobody else would bother. And anyway, I'm not trying to be condescend with this fella, but are you out of your mind again? I mean, you should not use your mind as much, but at least sometime when it is necessary, use it. And he didn't even do that. I do not think half of the time during my day. There are yogis, they are in constant communion with sacred and divinity. They don't think at all. They haven't, they don't have thought in months and months, not a single thought. You know that? Explore the world, then you would see, you would witness these people. Go to India and Himalayas and Mount Kailash, Nepal, um, and see the Buddhist and the sannyasis and the yogis, how they live over there. You see, they don't have a single thought in months. Are they not existing? Don't you witness them? Don't you see their body? I'm not having half of the day any type of thought in my mind. Am I not existing? Do I disappear somewhere? But why I mention this man time to time? The reason basically I mentioned, excuse me, the reason I mention this man time to time, because I make an example out of him. You see, that I show you that this much significance, unfortunately, is being subscribed to mind in West, or at least it used to be that way. Now a lot of work is being done. Now we are showing you and we are teaching you how to keep the balance. Just do not give it full control. That's what we are saying. There is a funny story in ancient India. There was a man on the horse. I think I mentioned this funny story a couple of times before, yeah, but I'm mentioning it again for a very significant reason, yeah. That there was a man on the horse, and the horse was running wild, and somebody yelled out loud and said to the guy, the rider, that where are you rushing? Where are you running in such a hurry? So the rider responded to the fella, the passerby, I don't know. Ask the horse, you know. So once it gets out of your hands, then it is very, very difficult basically to bring it back. So Kriya meditation and Kriya Yoga, along with the right measures, would free you from its miseries, the miseries that it keeps you in all the time, you see. Sattam Brahman, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman, Sattam Brahman, Sattam Brahman, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. Shri Rama Shri Ramana Maharishi was a brilliant and realized human being. Look him up on YouTube or on internet. Shri Ramana Maharishi was a brilliant being and a realized being, you see. But most of the time he remained super silent, Most of the time he remained super silent. And you would just learn if you sat into his vicinity in the silence, you would learn a lot. And if you are receptive, obviously, otherwise, not. You cannot learn. And Shri Ramana Maharishi said, never mind the mind. That's a brilliant statement. Shri Ramana Maharishi said, never mind the mind. So never mind the mind, Uh, it tells you something, then it contradicts and makes you feel guilty. And the demons and devil, you know, jump into the bandwagon. You know what the bandwagon is? Have you ever jumped into a bandwagon? So demon and devils, they jump into the bandwagon, and then the being is crying out loud for help. Being is yelling out loud for help, that I am being abused by my own thoughts. You see, that's what being is doing, that I am being abused, unfortunately, by my own thoughts. When you entertain so many thoughts in one moment, when you entertain so many thoughts in one time, the room in your cylinder, the room in your vacuum, the room basically in your cylinder and the room in your vacuum is limited. You understand? As long as you have the body, you relate to the physicality, but it's still the being. When the room in the being is limited, I would give you an example. It's just like, imagine that a room is floating in the air, in the space. So the space in the room is one being. You see, there is an if you take the walls off, if you take the ceiling and the floor off, what remains is the space. It emerges, excuse me, it it merges with the rest of the space. You see, that's how it is. But being has limited space. You see, so being is just the point of awareness. Another being is another point of awareness. Being has limited room in the cylinder. Being has limited room in the rubber balloon. Imagine a rubber balloon. Rubber balloon has a lot of elastic. You see, it's rubber. It can be stretched, and then you blow the air in the balloon and you tie the knot, and then you pop the balloon. When you pop the balloon, what happens to the air? It's everywhere. But as long as it remains in the balloon, it has limited room within, isn't it? Just like that, being, as long as it remains in samsara, which is creating this experience, as long as it remains in samsara, it's been given a specific room. If you try to shove too many things in the room, obviously those things are gonna entangle with each other and gonna contract with each other, the duality. You see, just like that, when you entertain more than one thought for no reason, you feel suffocated. Have you not? People who do stressful jobs, people who are trained, people who do stressful jobs, people who are trained to multitask. There are numerous and numerous jobs out there, basically, in which candidate and people who are working on those jobs, they are trained to multitask. You see, they are taking the order, they are listening in the same time, they are using their intellect to operate the machine while they are handing over you the food, and it can go to numerous similar type of positions. They become very stressed. Have you ever talked to these type of people? They are stressed. They need a drink or two after their day, or they want to smoke a blunt or a joint or anything like that. You see, because they feel suffocated for the most part when they are performing these type of tasks. You gotta pay your bill. There is nothing wrong to earn a living, but after a certain period of time, they are not alert enough, so they become used to. So when they are by themselves or with their family or alone, they still are entertaining more than one thought, multiple thoughts in the same time, and still feeling suffocated, then it becomes the part of the tendency. Then it becomes the part of God knows, you see, because mind, as I said, that it would never stop, just like the tree when you plant the seed in the fertile ground. And with your focus, it would just keep going. It would just keep growing the branches just like that. As much as you are focusing on one thought, it would keep going and keep giving you different type of scenarios. You see, mind was there supposed to be a defense mechanism in human. You see, mine was there, supposed to be a defense mechanism, but now it has taken such a huge and primary place in our lives that we feel that we are helpless and totally surrendered to the mind. That's no good. That's why we want you to feel alert, you see. Mm. Keep the use, keep the mind. It's necessary. Remember, I have told you numerous times that we do not have anything against it. Keep it when you need it. Put it aside when you don't. Just like any commodity. Keep it when you need it. Use it when you have to function or create certain situations, imagination for the inventions. That's fine. Then put it aside. Don't live in it all the time, because now you have become that you are living in it all the time. There's nothing natural about it. There's nothing fascinating about it. There's nothing like that. Keep meditating, my loved ones.